A lot of people are wondering whether the election will be legitimate. Will there be mass fraud? Will the Democrats attempt to steal this election? And of course, the answer to that last one is yes. The better question is, how will Democrats attempt to steal the election? Will it be A, by packing the ballot box with fraudulent mail-in voting, or will it be B, the normal, accepted way, through massive lying and personal attacks combined with a complicit media? Which one will be true? The drama. What's the truth about mail-in voting? Let's go through it. Let's break it down. First things first, and this is important that everybody knows this. Basically, everyone allows you to vote by mail in some way. That's nothing new. But there are several different categories of states that handle this differently. First of all, Group 1. Come up with an excuse and you shall receive. Now, 7 states in this category. For example, Texas. Valid excuses include you're getting old. 65 or above, you're automatically approved. You're in jail. Hard to make it to the polls while you're behind bars. Just go simply commit a crime, go to prison, and then it's easy to get your ballot. You're out of town is another excuse. You're going to be out of the county for some reason. Now, I drive to work and leave my county. It's very easy I'm going to be out of the county just to get a ballot. I mean, that's an easy thing to claim. Just remember, and I'm trusting you on this, drive across the county line on Election Day, or you're going to feel like you misled the government. And I know you don't want to do that. And finally, if you're disabled or sick, the state Supreme Court ruled that this doesn't include fear of getting sick from COVID. However, if you happen to check the disabled box, and I know you won't do this if you're being dishonest, if you happen to check that disabled box, you don't even have to list what disability you have, and they can't reject you. Trust me, you're screwed up somehow. It's pretty much a disability. Just go get your ballot. Let's pause here and recognize that those are the most restrictive rules against you getting your absentee ballot through the mail. In other words, you can vote by mail easily, whenever you want, everywhere. Full stop. The question is, how much effort do you have to put in to get that done? Let's look at the next group of states. Group 2, ask and you shall receive. In 25 states, if you ask for an absentee ballot, they will send it to you. No questions asked. You don't have to come up with a reason. Just ask, and you get it. I've been voting absentee for years, mostly because we're doing election coverage every election day. So I can't usually get to the polls. It's an easy way to get your vote in, and you don't have to stand in line breathing other people's droplets. It's a nice little benefit. Some people just get a rush out of going to the polls and pulling the lever. That's cool. I don't really care about that. If you do, go to the polls. Otherwise, this is an easy alternative to potentially sucking in a lungful of the corona. Okay, Group 3 is next. Don't ask, and you shall receive. There are 9 states in this category where they automatically send you an application for an absentee ballot without you even asking for it. Then you fill it out, send it back, and you'll get an absentee ballot to mail back in. This is sort of where the difference between Democrats and Republicans starts showing its face. Democrats want more people who put in less thought. Republicans want less people who put in more thought. This isn't a question of people who watch Rachel Maddow or Glenn Beck and obsess about the issues of the day. These people are going to be able to take the 5 minutes and figure out the right way to get their ballot. But what about people who are doing nothing but watching Too Hot to Handle on Netflix? These people haven't put 1 minute of thought into the elections or the policies of the candidates, or do they even know what a Kamala is? Well, they're not going to go on some site to chase down a ballot. But if one shows up in their mailbox, maybe they're going to send back a little application and vote for Democrats. It's why there's candy by the register at the grocery store. They put it in your face and you grab a whatchamacallit bar as you're checking out. Now, should that person have the right to vote? Yes, sure. Everyone that meets the most basic qualifications has that right. But should we be thrilled that a person who has put no time in determining the right way to vote is stupidly checking boxes to determine the future of the country? Let's not get all too high and mighty about the future of our democracy here. And Group 4, don't apply and you shall receive. In 9 states, they just mail a ballot to every single registered voter, whether they want it or not. This takes the last group to the extreme. Let's say RuPaul's Drag Race is too highbrow for you and you're only watching 90 Day Fiancé. If you get an application, have to fill it out, put it in the mail, and then have to open up the ballot once it comes back, fill out another thing, and then mail it again. I mean, what are you, an Olympic athlete? This sounds way too hard. But if the ballot shows up and you happen to be in a commercial break, maybe you fill it out and drop it in the mail. Again, do we want our democracy decided by people who care so little that they won't even take the most basic action to vote? Well, that's the case in 9 states. And this is what President Trump has been talking about. He's right. Millions of ballots will be sent out to people who haven't requested them. And that absolutely increases the risk for fraud. We know that some of those ballots will go to dead people. Some of them will go to Cocker Spaniels. Some of them will go to dead Cocker Spaniels. Some people will fill them out in the name of Pickles, their dead Cocker Spaniel, most likely in an effort to get Joe Biden to win. Lots of crazy crap will be tried. And to be sure, the typical left-wing arguments against election fraud are pretty stupid. Well, they've only caught a few people doing it. I mean, that's not exactly true, but so what if it was? It's called election fraud. Literally, its defining characteristic is that it's supposed to be secret. The definition of the word fraud is an act of deceiving or misrepresenting. The whole point of fraud is not to get caught committing fraud. When people are good at fraud, you don't know who they are by definition. The way you stop those people is by making it more difficult to commit fraud. You put scanners on the clothes at the Gap. You have cameras at your 7-Eleven. You ask for ID at the liquor store. But if you ask for an ID at the polls, you're called racist. So fraud becomes a lot easier, which is just what the left happens to want. So, what do you do? Now, there are some who are worried about this that have gone too far and said there are no checks on these ballots. That's not exactly true either. For example, in Washington, where they do full vote by mail, they scan the outer envelope to check off that a person has voted, so you can't vote twice. Then they check the signatures on the envelope and make sure it matches voter rolls. Now, if you've ever purchased something with your credit card, you know how closely they're checking those signatures. But there is at least a theoretical process, at least you got to forge a signature. Again, people will abuse this system. Some of it will work and some of it won't. But the good news is, at least today, it's highly unlikely to make the difference in the presidential election. Why? Well, there are 9 states that do this, 5 of which were already doing it before the election: Hawaii, Washington, Colorado, Utah, and Oregon. So there's no real change there. Washington, for example, has been using mass vote by mail in most places for about 15 years. So whether you like vote by mail or not, it's really only a new issue in 4 states and Washington, D.C. Newsflash, Donald Trump is not going to win Washington, D.C. The 4 states are California, which Trump is not going to win, New Jersey, which Trump is not going to win, Vermont, which Trump is not going to win, and really the only significant place where this could be an issue, Nevada. Now, Nevada was pretty close in 2016, with Clinton winning by about 1.5 points. But if Trump won the election without it in 2016, and if he's doing better there in 2020 than he did last time, he's almost definitely getting reelected anyway. This doesn't mean you toss election fraud to the side and not worry about it, but the chances of mail-in fraud being a determinative factor in the 2020 election are pretty slim. The bigger risk is going forward, because mail-in voting is not the end game. Compulsory voting and the national popular vote are even bigger prizes for the left, and they will continue to expand what they have while taking as much as they can get. So back to our question at the top. How will Democrats attempt to steal the election? Will it be A, by packing the ballot box with fraudulent mail-in voting? Or will it be B, the normal accepted way, through massive lying and personal attacks combined with a complicit media? The answer is, of course, C. Both. They will lie and launch personal attacks through the media, and their activists will try the fraud thing too. And then they will lie through the media again to act like nothing shady has ever happened. And their plan will only be complete when they get loud and stupid support from an increasingly intolerable Taylor Swift. Hi, Stu Bergier of Stu Does America here. Thanks so much for watching our video. Did you know you can watch our entire catalog for free right here on our channel? Subscribe now and be sure to hit the thumbs up button on all the episodes you watch, because that's how they know you like this stupid show. And that little bell in the corner as well, make sure you click that. You'll get notifications every time we post new content. Stu Does America every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here.